it would have been them.
Meanwhile, you would say that 3 coaches of the LCK team is going to be pretty happy about the matchup here. They're going to say, okay, we burned SKT, now we're feeling really good about the remaining matches. I'm sure Koma's looking at this and thinking there's a chance for SKT.
100%.
SKT have not, by far not been the weakest team at this tournament. They've certainly had some things they've been able to do well. Can they dissect what Flash Wolves have done well? 3rd game in a row of Flash Wolves on red side, 3rd game in a row where we just see them last pick for Hanabi and get him a good matchup. I want to see Hanabi under some threat, because so far he's been pretty comfortable.
As long as SKT have a game to play, you can never count them out. You never know when they can turn around a poor season for themselves. This could be the match against the #1 seed from the LMS region of Flash Wolves, and ultimately make a statement for the LCK.
And we're going to have to see something new coming up for Flash Wolves, because they have played 2 straight Mordekaiser games in a row. The first time they've actually shown this strategy in this tournament, and now they're heading towards something new.
Seems like SKT's heading towards a first pick Swain. That's been a big flex pick for them. Nocturne is up as well, though. And Flash Wolves will be wondering, can we actually have a Nocturne slide to us? What should we ban here? And they're not even going to respect SKT's Nocturne. I think Blank will lock it in. I think you have to with the power level of that pick. Already thinking about how Flash Wolves will answer.
He has to, especially with the Swain ban coming out from the Flash Wolves. Rakan as well as Morgana were the other 2 bans from SKT. We had Zoe and Talia being banned out by the Flash Wolves. Now they get 2 picks of their own after seeing the first pick of Nocturne for Blank.
And traditionally, the way Flash Wolves has beat down SKT has been through the jungle and mid lane synergy. 2060, they put Faker down 0-5 to start the game at Worlds. Now with Nocturne, a very slow jungler, they could look for a very strong jungler themselves to contest.
And I'm a pretty big fan of the Vladimir into what you've just seen revealed in the Nocturne, because already you're kind of thinking, what about a Galio with the Nocturne? Wouldn't that be fun? That's a great combo. Maple is his bread and butter to just go farm lane against a Galio like he did in the first game of the tournament against RNG, and then come online later and do great things. It's a flex pick to the bot lane as well, so they have a lot of options here if they choose to use them, and they're going to go for a CC level 6 jungler of their own in the Sejuani.
Locked in for Mujin in the jungle, with that Vladimir still being a flex pick between Maple and Birdie, potentially towards top side of map as well, but you'd expect Flash Wolves to hold their final pick for Hanabi in the top lane.
And the Vladimir has been a flex pick for Betty as well. He can pick that champion up if need be. SKT this tournament, they have been the more stock standard global team. They always want to go for the Shen or the Galio. Flash Wolves, I think they're setting up more for the 5v5 in anticipation.
Definitely it seems like mid-game execution SKT, late-game Flash Wolves, and that's scary. We've only had 4 champions of 10 locked in, and I think Flash Wolves, by no means, if we got it, they certainly also. We're expecting the Galio Faker trying to play 3 lanes like a superhuman performance like he did against RNG back in the semifinals of Worlds, and they're actually going for some lane power from Bang, just picking up the Varus.
Crowd control as well. Note that this is not the hot fixed 8.13, so we don't have those slight buffs that went over to Varus and some other 80 carries ways. Still strong nonetheless.
Varus, one of those few champions that's still holding on as the marksman.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Every time you see a hover, you're never sure. The Aatrox available.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this picks coming out from Flash Wolves. Aatrox locked in.
And there could be 3 positions that actually play this pick. We have seen the Aatrox in the bot lane in the past as well, but I'm going to say probably Hanabi has practiced this champion. He is a carry top laner, unlike MMD of the past.
So if it is Hanabi that's picking it up, who's the last pick for the Flash Wolves lineup?
Last pick support's pretty common if you want to get a really winning 2v2 lane, a Wolf special in metas past. I see the Smite mid, and I remember the Talon Smite. There's always the chance the Aatrox will once again be running the mid lane like BDD was using it in the earlier game. Focusing on the bans here for the second round. Seeing what you want to attack from SKT. SKT just seem to all want to be initiators, the Shen ban. Very stock stand.
Global ban as well, pairs up with Nocturne nicely, especially with Galio already being picked up. So banning that away nice and early. Time catch. Ban that comes out from SKT, denying some of Sword Art's champion pool.
And Flash Wolves looks like they have the stronger composition pre-6, before those global ultimates do come online. This is what Flash Wolves are known for. They like to go in hard and heavy early and try to break down Faker's lane.
Definitely around the Aatrox, I agree with you. The Vladimir, obviously he's not going to be able to do too much, but playing around wherever the Aatrox is could be a big thing for Flash Wolves early. The Darius ban away already. They already flashed a GP. You do wonder if they're still considering some shenanigans on the side of Flash Wolves. Last pick value for them. Again, 2 games on the red side, 2 last pick gangplanks so far for Hanabi.
Their third match on the red side in this tournament alone, up against SKT. Darius, the final ban that comes out from Flash Wolves. Could be to take it away from Thal on the top lane or potentially protect Hanabi, and Gangplank is the final ban that comes out from SKT.
And this one does come down to the wire. Flash Wolves still a very bot lane focused team, so they don't want, SKT don't want them to be able to overload onto the bottom side. The 4v2 dive is the most dangerous weapon from Flash Wolves.
Alistar locked in as Flash Wolves support. Sword Art will take that into the bottom lane. Now waiting to see what SKT pick up as their last two picks, looking for their support, as well as potentially their top lane pick of choice.
The Braum choice here is interesting. I don't necessarily see it as a high-value Braum game, but maybe it's just fallback here for Wolf, and it does mean it's a very strong CC lane for a potential all-in. With the Gangplank banned, are they bold enough to take Mundo? We did see yesterday Khan solo kill an Aatrox, but early game could definitely be punished if that ends up being the eventual matchup. Seeing the decision, yep, we will see it here, so we'll be Mundo for Tal.
Darius already banned out by Flash Wolf side, so they can't take it into the top lane against the Dr. Mundo matchup. Now we're going to see where these flex picks are actually going. So Aatrox and Vladimir could play in all three of the carry positions. Flash Wolves yet to show what their last pick will be. They've been hiding it from Hanabi over the two matches they played so far. They're going to be picking up Camille, it seems. So that should be top lane Camille for Hanabi.
Yeah, it's a really rare thing we see Camille, but it is one of those carry champions Hanabi has played in terms of the spring split. And I was just looking for more engage opportunities on this composition. Flash Wolves, like Frost Current said on the desk, they are the skirmish-heavy team. They want to take the first move against the Global from SKT.
And I'm just so excited that we may see that first game of Smite mid lane Aatrox, the solo queue special from Korea. I think Maple will stick with it. It's the mid lane that's the most interesting to me because these melees, 80 Assassins or 80 Bruisers into Galio do very well in the early laning phase. Could be so much pressure there. And if I'm SKT, I need to know what's happening at both Raptor camps. Otherwise, it's going to be an over-leveled Aatrox very quickly at level 1.
It is going to be BDD Maple picking up Aatrox in the mid lane for Flash Wolves. We'll have to check in during the match itself if he still picks up Smite as his summoner spell of choice. SKT going up against the #1 seed. Another mismatch. That's what we saw in the first game. 1 against 4. It's 4 against 1 this time around. But Koma definitely looking to try and take down a long-time rival, the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, Koma and Warhorse, they do go way back. Flash Wolves always had the better side of SKT in those BO1s, but when it came to the long, extended tournaments, SKT did come out ahead.
Such a fun rivalry between two old friends who've gone through some changes. They've definitely gone off to university, come home, and been some better for the ride, some worse for the ride. Flash Wolves, this time they don't have that fallback gangplank. Now things are a little bit different. And I think this bot lane for SKT is actually a pretty big winning matchup. I'm a big fan of the Varus Braum when Vladimir, he needs his time to get going.
Yeah, and also the Varus does still have the grievous wounds to kind of cut down on the regeneration from the Vladimir. I'd say this game for the Flash Wolves is all about the top and the mid side early levels. They have to get at least 2 kills, I would say, before 6.
I'll see if they can find those 2 kills. SKT, on the other hand, what are they looking to do here, Clement? The Flash Wolves are looking for those 2 kills. How do SKT stop this?
I think they play really defensively, try to hang on and get Faker online. He has been the best performing player, still that MVP status in the LCK.
If that first CC goes down bot lane, a chain of corruption, a knock up from the Braum, you best believe the Gargoyle's coming to join him. Piling in bot lane is what SKT want to do, and disrupting that momentum should be Flash Wolves' playbook. Play through mid, play through top, whatever works, stick with it.
And this is such a weird thing about the Flash Wolves because we rarely see them actually playing towards the top side. Of course, in 2018, they did swap out MMD and go for Hanabi, a Yasuo main, an Aatrox main. So a lot of new things happening with these teams. And the other one is the absence of Karsa. This is going to be the first time that Maple is going to be playing a 1v1 versus Faker. It's never happened before. It always had Karsa camping the lane.
Maple as well as Karsa, historic duo now mixed up with Muja being thrown to the roster for Flash Wolves. They're looking to try and even up the score for LMS, whereas SKT, their first time not going to MSI this year, looking for some revenge, and they're up against the Flash Wolves. Let's get on to Rift for the second match.
Bit of bouncing around, bit of happiness here. The crowd excited to see this legendary battle continue.
Ooh.
Bang.
Whoa! Hanabi predicts the flash, but it's not going to be enough. No one else follows up from the side of Flash Wolves. Very cheeky, trying to catch out Bang in the bottom lane.
And a very critical summoner. It's a free summoner, a flash on the Varus, and Varus Braum is expected to get lane control against Predator Vladimir, who's very much about the later parts of the game. That's actually bigger than it appears for Flash Wolves.
Yeah, the main danger here is that Blank might have to go to the bot lane just to babysit his lane, and that's going to leave Mundo and Galio against very tough lane opponents.
I do like this from SKT. They're late invading Raptors because the known thing is that Aatrox can one-rotate Raptors with Smite and 3 Qs. So they're going to late invade it. They're not going to allow free experience to the mid-lane Aatrox of Flash Wolves.
The Betty as well as Mugen experimenting with all the emotes that they've locked down for this match. Maple probably not going to be able to take these Raptors, but it will come down to a Smite battle if they look for the big Raptor itself. All the smalls going to go in Blank's way, gets the Smite as well, does not hit level 2.
Actually, Faker comes in with a lot of experience, so he's going to feel really good about the level 1.
Yeah, not the worst thing for the LMS either. We do see the jungle path is still going to be headed towards the top lane for Mugen here, where he can potentially find the ganks in the solo lane.
Still looking to hit level 2 over, takes away the Wolf Camp. You'd expect after that's killed, he will tick over to level 2. Mugen slightly low, but his start on the blue side of his map. Takes blue, goes towards Gromp, now towards the first normal Scuttle Crab spawn.
But already, I'm happy to see SKT refreshed, understanding having a level 1 plan against Smite Aatrox, something no pro team has had to do yet, only those whispers from solo queue. This is not the SKT we saw 3 weeks ago that seemed so far behind the meta, not even sure of its own lineup. This is the SKT with actual cogent plans, and like I mentioned, while 3 coaches from Korea are going to be happy about avoiding the Flash Wolves, I think SKT say we got nothing to lose, and what would it mean for our season's confidence in the regular season of LCK Summer if we could actually pick up a win in this best of 1?
Especially after Flash Wolves were able to take down not only RNG, but also Kingzone during the regular group stage of Rift Rivals here. So SKT going to look for some redemption in this match alone, keeping track of those junglers. Scuttle Crab taken down by Mugen, now moving towards the top side of that where Blank has actually invaded and took red buff for himself.
Yeah, but he is spotted out by the LMS squad somehow. The red pings do go down. I like the idea here, but there's going to be a fight very soon.
It's waiting inside Fog of War. Mugen jumps over. I don't think he saw him in that brush. He moved in at the last second, loses his passive.
No skills on him.
Blank's going to try and go in right now, tries to get the fear tether. There's no dash forward for Mugen. Takes a lot of damage, uses the smite, but Blank picks it up. Hanabi now joining as well. Mugen's going to flash forward, gets the spell shield, doesn't get stunned, and Mugen falls. Hanabi doesn't get the final briefcase, picks up double buff.
And the double buff's the big thing to take away from this. Spell shield used early by Blank. Wasn't there for the end of it. Flashes exchange between the top laners.
Yeah, good move on Mugen there, holding on to the stun from the Sejuani, and really just forcing Blank not to flash in that team fight, securing the double buffs for Hanabi. That's going to open up more chances for the kill onto Mundo as well.
Both junglers will fall during that small skirmish, but Hanabi does pick up the kill for the side of LMS, getting double buffs. Side advantage, going to teleport straight back towards top side of map. Lane was in his favor as well, checking in with Maple's Aatrox now, going towards the Comet once again. He's still packing Smite. Vegas done well in this match so far, dodging out a couple of the abilities.
The important thing to note about the itemization for the Aatrox is that we do see the seal first just to get more damage onto the Raptors, and we did see Maple go for the Tiamat as well to keep up his clear speed and try to deny the enemy jungler from getting that early level 6.
The trade's going up against Faker, though, takes him below half health. Maple's still going to carry forward. That's through Aftershock as well, once that taunt landed from Faker.
We're going to need new language for these Aatrox trades. I think it's an exchange, because that was a Christmas present exchange. You're not feeling good about what you got as Faker.
And I have to note that Maple did not even use his passive, the Deathbringer stance. That's still a large chunk of percentage HP he didn't even need for that trade.
This game slows down, we can start speculating on pick ban rate for Aatrox next week in our domestic regions.
Hot fix Aatrox as well.
Oh, baby.
That's a perma ban on solo queue, as you were talking about last match, Papa Smithy.
They're going to have to hot nerf him after Rift Rival.
That's 100%. A really hot champion right there. Double hot fix buff.
Reworked, double hot fix, now hot nerf potentially. Let's see if that hot nerf comes through.
Flash.
Playing chased down by Maple here. Spell shield doesn't cancel anything, but he does get his Raptor camp. Baker's going to make sure he can shoo out Maple as well as Mugen, stop them from pushing further into Blank's jungle.
We talk about fundamentals when we're talking about mid lane champions who can roam, Talia, Galio. The gold standard for someone like Faker in this matchup is the double control ward towards the bottom side so that the roam to bot lane can happen. Already identified that ganking with level 6s on specifically Bang, but to a lesser extent Wolf is a big play here for SKT. Bang's flash is back up. He has at the sacrifice of equalized CS. This should actually be about a 10 CS lead, but laning without flash has forced Tavares to be a lot more conservative.
Yep, and we do talk about the Silk Road pretty often in the LPL, and that's the brush behind the red buff. This is where both teams are going to try to look to put their control wards to make sure they can control where Faker goes.
No control wards yet on the side of the Flash Wolves. You expect Maple to pick a couple up when he goes back to base here. 2 already been picked up by Blank. Faker has one of his own, so SKT definitely trying to set up for something at level 6, which Faker has been able to achieve. Blank only ticking over to level 5 during his bottom side clear. Bang as well as Wolf ticking over to 5 as well. That power spike for SKT squads is trying to start a fight. It's coming soon, but Flash Wolves won it now. Bang in trouble. Wolf flashing backwards to save Bang with the unbreakable. Stand behind Brom.
That was just a great move there by Wolf, holding on his flash to the last second with his unbreakable up, is able to stop the tides of blood coming out from the Vladimir.
Trying to freeze the wave as well as Bang comes back in with his teleport. Lose 2 melee minions, but otherwise the freeze is pretty successful.
Allows Bang to just teleport back in as well, so nice and safe for SKT. Bilgewater Cutlass picked up by Varus on his recall there.
That trade still does go to LMS though. They did get the summoner away from Bang, and it's going to be very difficult for Galio to actually come down in this lane.
Awkward thing about the timing though is that the Bilgewater is a great first item pickup, and
Ooh, Betty forced to go into the Sanguine Pool there.
That was optimistic from Betty, and they actually interrupt the back of the Alistair amusingly in the back end. It's at Bilgewater as a buy, which also feels really good. Bilgewater into the refillable is a lot of extra sustain for the laning phase. You've dropped the Rage Blade a long time ago. Blade the Ruin King, if it fits you, is such a good one-item power spike, and cheaper, that against the mages do a lot of trade damage. Vladimir, as the game goes on, does a lot, is very comfortable.
Checking in on the level 6, however, I do feel like Flash Wolves has fell behind their own goals. We talked about them having to snowball the top side. That hasn't really happened outside of the kill that Hanabi got. And Camille in the late game really isn't that strong of a champion. She does need to snowball.
I actually wanted to poke you a little bit about the Camille. It's kind of a peculiar choice for me into the Mundo. We've seen Mundo counters. We know about the Aatrox. Could have sent Aatrox top lane. That was an option for the team. That Darius was banned. GP banned as well. I'm very surprised to see a champion who, if you think about her kit works, doesn't necessarily match up well to Mundo, even in the 1v1 as the game goes on.
Frankly, I think all that Flash Wolves wanted was just extra engage. Without Gameplank and Ornn being taken away in the bans, they needed some way to force their own skirmishing fights. And Camille is the one champion where you go into a tower dive scenario, she's going to perform exceptionally well. You're always going to have terrain for those stuns.
Well, now you're going to have plenty. Camille, Sejuani, as well as Alistar known to be able to start these fights. Gives Betty as well as Maple some breathing room to find access to get damage down for the Flash Wolves team. Level 6 has been acquired by both sides and all champions on the map. Especially with this global composition available for Blank as well as Faker. They might start looking towards the bottom side of the map.
Quite a lucky scenario for Flash Wolves. They do get the Infernal Drake first, and they are in the strong point in the match where I don't think SKT can really contest in a 5v5, so they should be able to take this one away.
A lot of risks when you have no flash on your bot lane, as I agree, Clement. There's an outside chance, but with no vision control, and so far, back timing's not being ideal. Faker's in base, so that means no contest here, you have to think.
On the way pings coming out from SKT, but too little, too late. Faker went back to base, and LMS secured themselves a free Elemental Dragon. Still 1-1 in kills. Slight goal lead for SKT, but they're looking for a fight. Betty gets locked out. Blank throws out the Paranoia. Wolf trying to collapse, and there he goes. Nocturne gives him a bit of a nightmare. Gets knocked forward, but that's beneficial for Blank at the moment. Double teleport. Looking to try and collapse onto the 3 members of SKT, but both just being cancelled. SKT settle for the pick.
And Betty, unfortunately, going into the pool a little bit too late. Still gets hit by the chains of corruption and cannot get away from that stun.
And it's been comfort for Betty. He's been on a lot of Vladimir this season, so surprising he's not there and not in position to be able to pull off that play. Nice, easy cleanup for Blank. Tried to actually headbutt him out of tether range. We got another tether to talk about.
Wolf getting jumped on by Muja, but he's okay. Throws up the Unbreakable. And SKT will disengage. We saw a nice statistic earlier, which is why we were asking LMS giving over to this Nocturne, quite a questionable play because 82% win rate in the LCK right now.
It's been insane. In the last week on 8-12, we had one single week on that patch. One game Nocturne was available to be picked. One game was a victory to score for KT over Griffin, ending that young team's run. So it is a pick that is heavily prized in Korea.
And we do see the LPL following up on that meta trend as well. Not a lot of Nocturnes week 1, but week 2, it was all about the pick. The new lethality build, I'm sorry, not the lethal tempo build really gives Nocturne the power to contest the scuttles early on with his shielding. So we have seen him be a very strong early pick and also a very easy pick to snowball the lane.
And credit where credit's due. Shout out to your boy MLXG. Lethal tempo Nocturne before it was cool. Now all over the rift. The headbutt to disengage the tether would have worked a couple of Nocturne changes ago, but the tether range now seems to exceed most displacement effects, and unless it's a Gragas ultimate, it feels like most of the time you're getting your man.
They're able to do so in the bottom lane. Now Paranoia is coming back up soon. We didn't see Faker follow through the back half of that fight the way that we'd expect Nocturne diving in. So that combo is still available. And SKT have another opportunity to attack a side of Flash Wolves map. For now though, Maple and Faker doing battle in the mid lane. Muja's going to collapse as well. We'll get the stun. Gallo locked down, but still at half health. Wolf going to join the fight. Faker forced to flash away. They want to try and turn onto Maple. Tagged by Winter's Bite. Blank is here, but so is Sword Art. Maple running quite quick with World Ender ultimate online.
Gotta say, you've seen enough Aatrox recently to kind of run away the moment he runs at you, even though he's 8 seconds into his World Ender. I'll give you the contest here. First dash over the wall.
Not going to get it. Another good smite from Blank, who's won most of these smite battles so far. But it's a good start for SKT. They're a team that doesn't do too well when they're behind 20 minutes into the match, so if they can keep up this pressure, they could really take it to the Flash Wolves.
Big thing here, of course, is that they do get Faker's flash, and what Maple wants to do is make sure that Faker has no opportunity to roam. He wants to push this lane in, use the double smite with Mugen, and also take away the Nocturne as well. If this mid lane gets snowballed, it will become very easy for Flash Wolves to keep tabs on where LCK strikes next.
I think it'd be very difficult also for the side of SKT to kill Aatrox in a team fight. That's the problem. Keeping Varus safe out of lane, pretty difficult. Speaking of keeping someone safe, Faker's in a lot of
Faker
trouble.
being collapsible, but it's Aatrox! It gets over to a Blank, follows through! SKT get a kill in the counter gang, catching Flash Wolves by surprise.
Visual bug, but keep going here.
Betty's in some trouble, able to proto battle away, but everyone just jumps over the wall. Is this SKT or is it Moscow? 5, because Betty's dead as well. Blank gifted the kill.
And again, the global composition, holding out to level 6, able to bite Flash Wolves again. You want to play skirmish, we're always going to be there faster than your rotation.
And credit to Blank, he's so often in the right area of the map. Easier on Nocturne when you have a global, but at level 1, that range isn't global. Able to get around, able to make a lot work, gets the second kill as well, and suddenly Blank out of nowhere, he's doing his best MLHD impression with kill score. He's got 3 already.
That's 3,000 gold of a lead to SKT as well. 4 kills to 1, showing that they're not only able to set up their own plays like we saw in the bottom lane, with Bang starting out with his ultimate early in the match, but also reacting when Blank got caught on the top side of the map very early into the game, as well as countering the gank onto Faker just then.
This is part of the pre-hot buff Aatrox. His World Ender is on a very long cooldown, 160 seconds to be exact. So if you fail one, you still have to wait almost 3 minutes to make the next play.
He's gone for a Black Cleaver as his first item of choice. Be farming up some of the Raptor camp as well. Still behind in CS against Faker, despite picking up these smites.
And the part where I'm a little bit surprised they're behind is around their strong lanes. They're behind in vision control. They haven't been able to push up any vision and know where Blank is at any point. They haven't been able to contest the control wards that SKT is putting down to allow the Galio to roam. We haven't seen that roam. It's level 11 and already level 2 points in the hero's entrance before it's first used. But for now, Flash Wolves are playing very back, and that really plays into the hand of a global comp.
And I think a lot of it does come down to Wolf and Sword Art juggling for position in terms of the bot lane. You could see Wolf actually won out on multiple roams right there to set the vision, to secure that there was going to be no Flash Wolves wards in their own side of the jungle. They just couldn't keep track of Blank because of the bot lane advantages.
And I like your praise. Wolf has been a monster, being in the right place and also on point with his mechanics as well. He's been able to do 1 out of 2 on the LCK multiple times this season, but but together hasn't been able to make things happen. Speaking of make things happen, this is the pack up and go bot lane that we alluded to for SKT.
SKT gonna try and play Mahjong on the bottom side of the map. Sword is the only member here for now. Pulverize doesn't connect. Actually get good damage onto the Salazar. Forces him to use a stopwatch underneath his own turret. Meanwhile, it's Faker that's being collapsed upon by the Flash Wolves, but they don't want to pick this fight just yet. SKT decide not to attack the bottom lane.
SKT really have a run of the map earlier than you would have expected, before an all-in happened. Usually with these global comps, it is if the cooldowns are used, that's when the enemy team can react, and when the cooldowns are up, that's when they're threatening. They've been able to make a lot happen without fully investing in anything, so their side lanes are in a great spot, and predictably their bot lane is so close to cresting the first turret of the game.
But here we do see the first items coming out for most of the LMS. The big point about the Vladimir versus most ADC matchups is you pack a lot more burst damage in those early dragon fights. So I'm kind of looking for Flash Wolves. I hope they set up a contest somewhere just to get a little bit of that edge.
Early Sorcerer Boots with the Predator, as well as the Protobell being picked up by Betty. SKT will be the one to pick up the Dragon here. But it is Flash Wolves looking to try and take Rift Herald for himself. SKT should be pretty happy with this trade because first structure falls to them.
Big little investment of gold onto the Varus. Things going swimmingly, the side of SKT, and Flash Wolves at least seeing that right now, not fancying a fight, taking a free objective, knowing that eventually the Rift Herald usually represents an equalization in the turrets. We're just kind of waiting for some of the members here to actually fully commit from the Flash Wolves. We haven't seen Hanabi involved at all. He's certainly online much earlier than the Mundo. That's how the champion works. The first proactive move from Flash Wolves, it's looking like after the early game was a bit topsy-turvy, needs to be a decisive one.
Yeah, because you talked about the Mundo from Tal in the top lane. There is no sustained damage coming out from Flash Wolves' composition. You're not going to be able to deal with them. The best you can hope for is maybe the headbutt from the Sword Art and follow that with a pick.
And who's building healing reduction? I guess maybe it's going to be Maple getting an Executioner's calling, but they don't necessarily have natural itemization to that one either. Melanomicon is being delayed, if at all, coming through from the Vladimir. They're going for the max damage, and that does seem to mean that Tal going to have a happy time.
Seems like Sword Art's Ignite is the last thing left on Flash Wolves' line to deal with Dr. Mundo in a big fight, but a huge cooldown for an important summoner's spell. Now he's been able to pick up Trinity Force for himself to go with the Tiamat he has completed. So it's a good spike for Camille, but it was a questionable pick to begin with for the Flash Wolves. Now split pushing against Tal. Whereas they will send Betty and Sword Up to go up against Bang, as well as Wolf from the top lane. Bang, threatening here, throws out the corrupting ultimate, will lock down Betty, flashes away from Braum. Delvo teleports into this fight. Ultimate's thrown down, Ignite is ticking as well, and Nabi jumps into the fight. So does Thal, but they force Flash Wolves away once again.
Yep, and you can see that could have been a lot worse for Flash Wolves, but the mid lane was able to hold back Galio and Nocturne from joining that fight into the top lane. Unfortunately, I still think Betty is not onto his mechanics. Again, going into the pool a little bit too early.
I find it hard to criticize him this time because it was the close brush. He wasn't expecting the Varus, but 2 out of 2 times he hasn't been able to turn around an engagement like you might expect, and SKT run the map.
Who's hunting who, though? Because they find Blank moving out of Fog of War. Faker's going to try and join this fight. Sword Up being classed upon, ultimate popped. And I'll be trying to lock down Bang in the back lines, but Paranoia straight on top of him. He gets taken down, where's perfect timing from Bang. Keeps him alive. The crippled Aatrox forced to crawl away and flash over the wall. Thal will go where he pleases. Locks down Sword Art again, flashes forward, headbutts in one more time. Bang gets that kill, and Flash Wolves retreat towards their base once again.
This is the time the Flash Wolves choose to fight, but SKT are there first. They have the vision control. They're able to choose one target, and through the paranoia, they just take down Hanabi on one side of the fight before a speck of damage is done on their carries.
Flash Wolves looking for the 2-man skirmish, the easy pickoff, but it doesn't happen. SKT come in full force. The 5-man already anticipating the play.
The 4th seed from the LCK doing work against the Flash Wolves at the moment. 5,000 gold is the lead that's picked up by SKT so far. They throw Rift Herald into mid lane from the Flash Wolves. Faker tries to take out the eyes. That's reduced damage, and this torrent doesn't fall. But it's not looking good for the Flash Wolves right now. It looked like the hunt for SKT, but SKT may very well be the hunters in this situation.
It's just so weird to talk about SK Telecom because of their history and because of their present struggles. They are the 7th place team, but sometimes those intangibles come in. Wolf is having a seasoned game for sure, and then in fights like this you see the weakness of Flash Wolves from behind. They can do nothing while they watch Hanabi be taken down.
Yeah, this composition for them does not do well into the strong 5v5 presented by SKT right here. And this comp, they really do need the early edges to go ahead. Mundo, like we talked about early, no sustained damage coming out from Flash Wolves, is having a field day.
With those leads, they've now parked Bang as well as Wolf in the mid lane. Blade of the Ruined King was the first pickup coming out from Varus. Val is still split pushing against Hanabi, and Hanabi doesn't want anything to do with this Dr. Mundo.
I think the problem for Flash Wolves getting picks now is that they actually have no side lanes that can do the job for them. They aren't going to be able to split push and take away SKT as a 5-man in the future.
They had so many flexes that it seems like they almost second-guessed themselves too many times, and now they had this weird hodgepodge comps coming. We were liking what they were doing with a lot of their flex, but the eventual answer to Mundo really hasn't panned out. The early game went the way of SKT, and that's something that can happen, but they haven't had the ability to use any of the decisive engage that Camille can provide, and now almost 2 items cresting for the Mundo. You wonder if Hanabi has to go for some emergency plays because the side lane's not looking like a happy time.
Yeah, the only way I really see Flash Wolf coming out in the team fight is if they can all in and just burst Bang down, but that's going to be very difficult, and it's probably going to have to come after Blank engages.
It's going to be difficult for the Flash Wolves, but they have to find a way because at the moment, LMS are down 1-0. Flash Wolves were the team that we expected to bring this series to at least a Game 4 and take it home in Game 5. Now really Mad as well as G-Rex can be sitting back saying we have to pull off a huge carry for LMS if Flash Wolves lose this match.
They're going to have to do it against the 2 strongest LCK teams. Still KT and Afrika left on the roster for the LCK. So even if Flash Wolves somehow pull out a win right here, it's very probable that we're looking at a 3-1.
If we're going to focus on the Flash Wolves' potential to turn this around, remember we saw SKT in their loss to IG. There are exploitable weaknesses, specifically around teleport plays from Tal. He can be late to team fights. If there is a huge decisive fight, Betty now level 11, still doesn't have a lot of items, so isn't bursting anyone, but an outnumbered fight is what they want. The problem is, do they have to blow Hero's Entrance and Paranoia before they can later actually get an outnumbered fight? Because the global comp papers over little weaknesses like SKT's problems with rotation.
Well, they find Hanabi jumping over the Dragon Pit, and they bring Blank with him as well. Easy teleport coming in to try and get into this fight. Fowler's there first. Paranoid comes in from Blank, jumps in on top of Sejuani, delivers the hero entrance in a choke point, but only gets a single knock-up, and Maple's been able to pop the wall ender to stay alive, separating this fight. Sword's done a good job so far. Hanabi jumps back in, and Faker's the first casualty. Hanabi managing to get away from the fight itself. Banks in some trouble, locked down, but flashes away from Crack Control. Forces a stopwatch out of Mugen, so he will be able to turn this one around. A 2-for-1 trade.
And you were talking about potential bad teleports from Tal, but that was a great one. He went straight into Flash Wolves' backline, and actually Sword Art was out of position to headbutt the Mundo out, the most crucial part of the teamfight success needed for Flash Wolves.
Honestly, it felt like about 7 people were out of position. Everyone was flanking everyone, and we had to wait to understand really where things were. In the end, the gold lead, I think, babied SKT into looking like it was better than it actually was. They'll take the 2-for-1, but it should have been more decisive with where the game was and their mid-game comp.
Comes back to what Frostco was talking about on the desk. Flash Wolves trying to take these team fights and turn it into a small skirmish. I mean, Sword Art trying to separate the teams. We get to look at it again. Even Hanabi jumping in straight away.
And that's the thing, is it starts with so many different things happening. Blank's tether is broken as they go over the wall. Here comes the first TP as Tal runs in. As you see, Blank dive in, they do disengage off the ult, but Bang doesn't have any protection, and they get very little value out of the Varus.
Yeah, but I still think Tal's position is really what won them here. Without Mundo in the front line, they should not have been able to chase up that choke right there. And Bang, with some good footwork, even though starting in a bad place, able to dodge 2 crucial abilities from Sword Art and Mugen.
See a future fight where there's more damage on the backline, a potential assassination of Bang, it goes different, but all about space occupying that timeout.
Very difficult now, though, with a Guardian Angel being picked up by Bang as well. So 2 GAs on the side of SKT, making those assassination potentials a little bit harder for the side of Flash Wolves.
You have to love that itemization from Bang, recognizing Flash Wolves' only win condition in terms of the team fight, and knowing that Flash Wolves don't have any side lane pressure to force a pick. So just great stuff by Bang. The reason they've been able to win 3 championships with him is really, 2 champions, sorry, has really been a lot about the experience from the players themselves.
Question is, what do you do with the Camille? Who are you ulting now that the GA is there? Perhaps just popping GA is already your assignment, but working out Hanabi's role has already been something that we've head-scratched about earlier.
From the very beginning.
Yep, we've been skeptical, and the itemization, a nice lead for SKT, is making it trickier. The gold lead's not growing. It was around 4,000 to 5,000 much earlier, and it's sticking around that area. Faker walking up. Baron control, the next sort of objective here for SKT is they have very strong turn off the Baron to try to close the game.
It's just been small objectives being taken by SKT whenever they win these skirmishes or team fights. A couple of outer turrets taken down, mid lane outer still stands, and a dragon going SKT's way before back after that fight. Now we're going to have to see if they do set up potentially for that Baron play. 26 minutes into the match, it's available for them to try and contest and control, which they've done successfully so far, getting the vision around that pit, but not moving into the red side of Flash Wolf's jungle just yet.
They could very well set up a pick right here. If you look at the side lane, Style is doing great. Hanabi has actually been itemizing for that backline dive, has no executioner calling, knows his job that he has to go for all the damage possible onto Bang.
Reset for a moment. We appreciate that the mid lane turret hasn't gone down yet for Flash Wolves. One of the big bottlenecks for trying to get the sort of Baron control you want to be able to close this game. SKT know the Baron is so crucial, only a single range champion on their lineup, and Bang will be certainly turned upon the moment he goes for an auto attack onto something like an inner or inhibitor turret. So waiting for the control wards, the refresh, and then the bait. That is the next playbook for SKT.
Taking their time with this though. All has been able to pick up his Warmog's armor. It has enough hit points to actually activate its passive, so difficult to deal with during this split push. Will be difficult to deal with during the team fight as well. Blank still looking to clear out wards. Potentially set up for a pick himself.
Ooh. Bit of danger.
Able to lock him down. He has got an Angel available, but flashes away from the rest of the crowd control. Maple still deep inside of SKT's jungle. They do successfully burn the Summoner spell away from Blank.
Get a bit of free damage onto him as well. There's no fallback objective for a minute, as Infernal hasn't spawned. That's first good little movement there for Flash. First time they got something for free rather than making a trade that SKT would opt into.
SKT actually have a very fast Baron time right here with the Blade of the Ruin King coming out with Bang. And we've seen this play being made in the LPL quite often. You turn off the lights, Flash Wolves think that they might be going for an engage, and then you just burn Baron off of it. So that could actually happen if SKT just decide to scale up.
But they decide for now they're going to deal with that outer turret in the mid lane, taking it down. The final outer turret on Flash Wolf's side of the map opens up the gold lead as well. 7,000 gold in SKT's favor. And they're waiting inside a brush with a control ward as well. Flash Wolves don't have any vision besides on the pit itself.
That means they don't need to walk up, so that's enough vision for them to avoid the party brush that SKT was setting up. They don't have Rage Blade on Varus, so the Baron burn isn't insanely fast, but it is still very quick, like Clement mentioned. All these variables are things you think of as Flash Wolves. How long before we have to face check if we lose vision on the Baron? You can always estimate it by the enemy levels and items and just your understandings of those champions, and that will be something that's tested as clearly this will become a Baron game before too long.
Flash was going to try and capitalize on the recalls from SKT to look towards an Infernal Dragon. They already have 2 dragons themselves. One is an Infernal. But an immediate teleport coming back into the mid lane by Bang. Picks up a Rage Blade, and it's Blank that starts a fight against Sorta, burning the flash and ultimate away from Alistar.
That is 2 ultimates used on the SKT side. I wonder if LMS will try to contest after that. They don't have a lot of chances going forward.
So really good ability to turn off of an objective with just the Varus. So they're going to give this one up. Flash Wolves will just take some topside vision around the Baron.
Especially Rage Blade being picked up by Bang. Big power spike for Varus at the moment. Zhonya as well as a fully stacked Rod of Ages available for Faker as well. Now Sword Art, no flash available. That was a crucial spell to try and start fights, potentially followed up on crowd control onto single out members from SKT. Not available. They do regain control over the Baron pit, pick up a small objective of the top lane outer turret, but they're still far behind and still have to find a pick against SKT to make their way back into this match and tie up this best of 5 series against the LCK squad.
We do see SKT again sweeping over to the Baron side, actually Mujin teleporting back to base, backing on top of a ward right there. So the small advantage that Flash Wolves got with that trading that Infernal Drake is completely lost at this point.
And the vision control there for SKT, waiting for their next move. They are feeling confident. They feel like the Mundo will go largely unanswered as this game goes on. And happy to play a longer game after controlling 20 minutes and losing at 23 against IG yesterday. Baron is the place they secure the game. They're against very little wave clear, but also could potentially throw the game. And that's why expect there to be just a litany of control wards anywhere near the Baron.
There is double smite on the side of the Flash Wall,
True.
so Baron steal is definitely a possibility if SKT commit too hard from taking the actual objective.
A level 17 smite for an extra 100 damage as well, so you have to be pretty tricky as you know Maple's positioning.
It's always a bit difficult for the blue side to really secure this Baron just because of the red side advantage close to it.
They do have the range to start fights, however. Blank tries to collapse on top of Aatrox. Will not get pulled back. No summoner spells burnt either. Just fishing for a pick does take away the World Ender ultimate from Maple,
I
however.
wonder if it was just looking for a flash, because it didn't look like there was any real chance of a gank being pulled off.
Dog getting caught out here. Pops the ultimate nice and early. Sword Up follows through with crowd control, but there's a teleport coming out. Looking to try and collapse on the rest of these members. Sword Up does have ultimate available, but no flash. The rest of SKT able to get there in time. And WW the one that slows down. Hook shot onto the wall to try and disengage. Sword Up still taken very low. SKT want to take this fight, and a big flash taunt coming out from Faker. Mujin forced to go over towards the wall pit, charging back towards the other side. Maple in trouble, can't get over the wall. SKT with 2 picks, even a flash from Betty, and they've got their eyes set towards Baron.
And you could see what Flash Wolves were trying to do there. They were trying to pick off Bang coming into the fight. They knew they couldn't take down Tall, but they were hedging their bets on that single pickoff. Bang, however, stood right next to the bottom side of the wall, inched his way forward, and made sure that there was no pick coming.
And meanwhile, Mundo just kind of looked at any damage, ran at the enemy, and there is no answer. Aatrox couldn't even use his Bloodwell. His ult was on cooldown, no value from it. This should be easy Baron, SKT.
We questioned how could they take down this Dr. Mundo in a team fight. Well, they tried to skirmish against him. That doesn't work out either. Mujin looking for a miracle steal. Throws out the ultimate. Wolf keeping him occupied. SKT have stopped damage on Baron for now. 2,500 hit points. Mujin still looking for a chance to steal. Chunked out to about half health, but Baron bursts down by SKT. Blank wants to fight. Jumps on top of the jungler. He's gonna fall first. And Sword Art's the next target. Crowd control after crowd controllers. Bouncy Castle. Fun time. SKT get 2 more picks.
Beautiful anticipation from Blake, not letting Sword Art's combination take him off of his target. And without Flash, Mujin really had no hope of taking any steal at that Baron.
And honestly, if SKT take down Flash Wolves, I don't know if the LMS have any hope of stopping Korea going all the way to the final tomorrow. What this means for SKT fans is hard to describe. They have been suffering for a long time in 2018. And for this roster, with Tal in the top lane, a rookie playing this year, with Blank in the jungle, leveling up his performance again and again. We're watching the replay here, no healing reduction apart from an Ignite. Tal lives through it, and they're happy to just DPS through as no one can do anything to the Dr. Mundo.
I like what Flash Wolves tried to set up here, but look at their angle. Once they saw they could not find Bang, they tried to cut off the rest of SKT. Faker in that choke point with the potential 3-man, excuse me. Taunt really just finishes it off.
I gotta say, Galio tournament, champion of the tournament. So far we've had Yukal, Rookie, and now Faker all having big moments on the Galio. An old pick for Faker, but a goodie. Again, this is such a big moment for SKT. Whatever Rift Rivals represents, whichever country or region comes out as champions, SKT will see this as a lifeline for their hopes of making playoffs in summer.
Moving back to the summer, they're going to look back at this match because Flash was a team that took down RNG, took down Kingzone during the group stages of the tournament. And think back how they're able to take down the Flash Wolves. They still have to execute the game winner, however. Sword Art's being caught out. Faker can try and lock him down. Tether is there. Taunt is there. Easy pick for SKT.
Surprised Sword Art even used his ult.
Yeah, he really did not need to use it right there, but I think it's a bit of the nerves getting on to Flash Wolves. We have seen Flash Wolves fall to SKT in this fashion before, putting all of their eggs into the early game basket, and when they aren't rewarded from the defense of SKT, it just falls apart.
Seeing SKT walk up with the Baron, they'd love to take a couple of inhibitors here. Still a while to Alistar's back.
They're split pushing. Faker is in the top lane. Blank is waiting in Fog of War to try and get an ultimate available for himself. Cannon minions on every wave means they'll slowly chip at all of these turrets. Faker will make quick work of the top lane inner turret, move towards the top lane inhibitor. Thol's in the bottom lane, so pushing against Hanabi and Muji, even called down there, but Bang gets access to this turret, takes it down nice and easy. SKT break the base, now looking for inhibitors as well. Did stall for Sword Out, however. Back up and online, LMS have all 5 members there and only 50 seconds of Baron to work with.
Again, I have to say the Flash Wolves do have to strike first. Ooh. They do need to find the pick, or this 1-3-1 will just finish off their entire base.
Well, Blank's going to try and jump in, locks down Sword Out. No ultimate available for this Alistar, but they take down an inhibitor. Meanwhile, Dr. Mundo being jumped on, he doesn't care. He'll go where he pleases. Top lane's broken, bottom lane's broken, and skirmishes take place all across Flash Wolves' base. Faker trying to lock down Sword Out. Ultimate available for him, but it doesn't matter. The winds of war take him down. Guardian Angel being popped as well, but Hanabi as his turret falls right beside him. Another kill being picked up by Thol, and this is an absolute shellacking again from the LCK roster.
What's old is new again, guys. Somehow, when you need a team in the clutch, it's SK Telecom in 2018. It goes so far from expectation, but they're styling on Flash Wolves.
And the spirit of the LMS is slowly being drained away because LCK's SKT, the 4th seed, send us to match points.
The crown has always been too heavy for Kingzone Dragon X. No one has wore it better than Faker and SK Telecom T1. They take down the Flash Wolves, they crush the hearts of the LMS, and now it feels like the 3-0 is a very big potential.
And they just have such a different aura from teams like KT and Kingzone,
Definitely.
who like to team fight. SKT, they're slow and steady. They recognize win conditions that the other team have to meet, and they deny Flash Wolves from getting an early snowball.
And I think Flash Wolves were thinking it'll be another false start from SKT. They won't be able to get off the ground and play their own style. But SKT in the early game made some very nice moves that disrupted the momentum from Flash Wolves. We saw Mugen basically anonymous in this game. The top lane Camille, to say it didn't work would be an understatement. And that last pick on the red side, if you're gonna play bruises, if you're gonna flex, needs to be a match winner, and it was not that in this game.
But it was during the group stages. That was when we saw the Gangplank pick, able to take down Prey in the final fight around the Nexus. Camille just wasn't there. The draft lackluster coming out from Flash Wolves when it counted for the LMS. Coma steps up, fantastic draft coming out for SKT, and they play around it beautifully.
Coma is always so respectful in those final drafts because he did take away everything that the Flash Wolves has been running this tournament. And for the Flash Wolves, their biggest weakness has always been they cannot play well into a with a split push from their top laner. Their top laner has always been someone that sacrifices and plays for utility.
Not a sight we expected to see today as SK Telecom do a big bow to the crowd here in Dalian. Well deserved.
From the hunter to the hunters, this was the team that our analysts said LMS have to try and find them. Get Flash Wolves on a game where they can pick up a win, try and get G-Rex or MAD to take down SKT, send it to game 5. Not the case. SKT take down Flash Wolves, it's now match point for LCK.
Look at the numbers here, and honestly the goal difference shows a one-sided game, which does fit the game we watched. SK Telecom able to pilot a pretty comfortable draft. They go for the global comp that we saw coming, that I'm sure Flash Wolves saw coming as well. But then the flexes started, and the Aatrox with Smite didn't really see the value. First Aatrox loss we're going to see on patch 8.13. The last pick didn't work, and the moment you're talking about a couple of things not working in draft, it doesn't take a top 1 team to beat you. They didn't put up too much resistance in the end.
Yeah, Flash was unable to disrupt any of the tempo coming out from SKT, letting them play that global composition again. I think LPL will take notice of today and ban some of those key champions away.
Yeah, they had some pieces of the puzzle, but SKT had the full picture. Let's now send it back to the analyst desk to break it down.
Hard to believe, but suddenly LCK taking down the Flash Wolves. So many people have been saying Flash Wolves best in the tournament, Flash Wolves favorites.
Hello,
Yep.
sir? Hello, Raz? Yeah,
Yep.
it's for you. Flash Wolves, not the best team
I'm
at the
hanging
tournament.
up. Get it out of my eye. Get it out of my
This
face.
is what
It's a
I'm
prank
saying.
call.
The Flash Wolves, they barely beat Kingzone. It came down to clutch moments, and Kingzone have definitely been fumbling. I don't think that we saw who was the best team of the tournament. I still think it's one of the LCK teams, maybe RNG. We'll see more so tomorrow. But this is finally the SKT that SKT fans have been waiting so long to see. Huge credit out to Blank and Bang and Wolf in particular.
Bang has had a fantastic tournament. So far, he's come up, he showed up in that game. They just played around him holistically, playing towards the bottom side of the map, and Betty was getting demolished every single time he walked into lane. And so it's surprising, especially since the guy didn't have flash on level 1. So even though he started off on the back foot, he just kept stepping forward.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can take a look at the draft on the bottom of your screen right now. The cast kept saying global composition coming out of SKT. It was tried and true, bread and butter. 100% agree with that. But for me, and you can see our man of the match actually goes to Faker, but for me, it really was around Bang and Wolf creating such a pressure point, like you were saying, not having flash, but then always threatening that bottom tower. And then it forced the Flash Wolves to respond. SKT in every single lane did so well playing defensively and then reacting to what the Flash Wolves are doing and then finding these little catches where you see Maple and Muujin start to move down bottom because they're trying to protect from Faker, using the Galio down there to force the tower, and then suddenly Nocturne's flying in, they're caught out in the river, he's picking up kills, and he's doing his best MLXG impression.
And that's the issue here. Ultimately, the pick and ban here from the Flash Wolves, they didn't really find themselves a real opening. So Vladimir and Alistar is going to get pushed in by the Varus. That's just going to happen.
He was down like 50 CS.
Yeah,
It's real rough. And so once you ping 6 as the Varus, you just look for trades. You look for any skirmishing. So Betty was ultimately behind in terms of behind in CS, below in HP. And so when the rest of the members try and help, that's when the follow-up of the Nocturne Galio comes through. I didn't want to see Galio this game. I felt like immediately I thought the drafting would mean that we would see the Galio and the Yasuo in terms of banning, but Flash Wolves were so confident in being able to beat it, they didn't really see the bottom lane being an issue, and ultimately that was the first step to their defeat.
But you could see the mentality from Flash Wolves. Having Aatrox with the smite into the mid lane, excellent adaptation from SKT though to disrupt the Raptor camp. Our casters talked about it again. But you know, Aatrox was winning so many of those trades, very similar to the Talon and to the Galio matchup, but Faker just played it so well. Again, defensively across the board, SKT said, this is what our composition does, this is when it does it, wait until this moment and pull the trigger.
And that's what happened so many times. We saw the traps set up by SKT to almost bait Flash Wolves. Oh no, I'm overextending. Oh no, this could be a trap. And then suddenly collapsing with that Nocturne, with that Galio. We've actually got a replay to show you that. I believe that was the one that happened in the top lane. Yeah, Blank steps forward and Flash Wolves are like, great, we can take this.
And it's always, yeah, exactly. It's always just this idea of you create a pressure point. It was Bang and Wolf. They were pushing forward. And then the rest of SKT were just setting a trap, the security blanket, and waiting. They walked into it, and then the trap was sprung, and SKT tore them apart.
And the most important part of this is, even though it gone, Vladimir just joined the fight because before this even happened, he got pushed out of it. So it was a 5v4 to start, and it was a bad situation because Flash Wolves were never set up. They were never ready because it was them always getting put on the back foot based off of the laning phase. And of course, the setup was there. SKT was prepared.
That being said, that is the win going over to SKT with that game. That now puts LCK at 2-0. Before we go to a quick break, though, we're actually going to get a chance to hear from one of the members of the Flash Wolves for his thoughts on this performance and the tournament. You're looking over.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the Flash Wolves, it appears to be Maples. I'm actually looking down into the innovator booth.
Sneak peek. We're going to get a chance to hear from him in just a second. And actually, Clement is now ready. So now let's hear from Maple of the Flash Wolves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Clement Chu, and with me is the mid laner of Flash Wolves, Maple. Maple, can you say hi to everyone?
Hello, I'm Maple.
That was great pronunciation right there. First question I do want to ask about you is there was a lot of low expectations for the LMS region as a whole, but Flash Wolves still came out. You guys smashed the group stages. Can I really ask, how have you guys been able to keep on top of your game when the rest of the region doesn't seem to be on par? 我第一个想问你的问题是，其实在这次的洲际赛里面有蛮多的这个预期对 LMS 是非常非常的低的，但是闪电我们在小组赛的时候看到还是非常非常的一个强劲。这样，那请问一下，闪电为什么有办法在 LMS 其他队伍好像已经跟不太上来的情况下，还维持这种成绩？
主要是我们平常就是都是在跟中韩团练吧，然后加上这版是8.13，就基本上就是我们这3区都没有什么打过8.13的比赛，所以基本上就是比谁 meta 抓的最快吧。对，所以让我们就是有抓到这版的 meta，就是才比较顺利。
Flashwolves has been able to keep its strength because we mainly scrim against Chinese and Korean teams right here. And 8.13, we haven't really played against most of the other, the regions haven't really played against each other. So it's about who really finds the meta first, and I think we did come out of a bit of a lead in terms of that. Talking about 8.13, I want to dig a little bit deeper because you have been playing with the Smite mid so often. We saw the talent in both the Aatrox as well. Can you talk us through what's so good about this style? 就我想问一下，就是讲到8.13的话，我们看到你留2次在中路带的重击这样子一个套路，那可以问一下为什么这个打法的优势之处在哪？
主要是这版护符变强了嘛，那基本上你带重击，如果一等可以把6鸟吃掉的话，你基本上就会有2级的优势，然后基本上你的血其实不太会扣，然后基本上你先2了对线就是一定会赢所有人。
So it's mainly for the laning phase because this time around the Hunter's Seal was buffed a little bit. You don't lose too much HP, taking the Raptors first and coming into lane at level 2. And if you come into lane at level 2, you should be able to win the lane. My final question for you, unfortunately, this will be LMS last day at the tournament. What do you think you guys have learned and what do you have in stock for the future and going up to Worlds? 最后一个问题，我想说，很遗憾的就是 LMS 在今天已经结束了所有的赛程。那不是结束，对不起，不是结束的所有赛程，我尴尬讲错了，不好意思。This will be 就是目前的话，闪电狼你们大概觉得你们在这个 tournament 的话，在这次的赛程里面有学到哪一些的一个比赛 ？So unfortunately, I did have to revise my question. LMS, of course, still does have a hope to go on to the next day right here. My bad, my apologies here. But I just wanted to ask for Flashwolves, what do you guys really pick up in this tournament, playing up against the top teams of the LPL and the LCK?
像这次来打，我觉得其实每一区的打法都蛮不同的吧，加上因为这版是新版，所以就是像 LPL 还有 LCK 都学到一些蛮多套路的，然后还有一些新的角色啊之类的。
So it was mainly about learning about new synergies that each regions have brought on 8.13. We were really seeing a lot of different things coming out from both the LCK and the LPL. So thank you very much for your interview, Maple, and I hope LMS still has a fighting chance in this.